Welcome to the official European Startup Prize for Mobility 5th edition Demo Day. We're super happy to have you and to offer you the opportunity to connect with the top 7% startups coming out from a plus 700 application pool spanning more than 39 countries from all over Europe. As a reminder, European Startup Prize for Mobility has been co-founded by Karima Delli, the chairwoman of the Transport and Tourism Committee at the European Parliament, and via ID, a European VC focused on sustainable mobility. Each year, we collect between 500 and 700 applications, and what we're trying to do is to support the most promising startups in their European expansion. We're super happy to have gathered a wide network of great partners ranging from European institutions, big corporates, and also investors, all committed to develop a more sustainable and clean mobility ecosystem. So what's in for you for today? Well, the objective is pretty simple. Meet and engage with the most promising founders so you can increase and develop your deal flow with very pre-qualified startups in order to either fund your new investment targets or develop new strategic projects. The good news is that we already worked for you. All the startups have been evaluated by over 100 VCs and experts that were involved in a strict and rigorous process in order to spot the most promising founders. So the agenda is pretty simple. We'll start with a great panel with our friends coming from Techstars, InMotion Ventures, and Connected Mobility Hub before jumping into the pitch session. All the pitch have been designed to be very effective and dynamic. Each startup has two minutes in order to convince you to ask for intros. In 30 minutes, you'll be able to access the Expo tab, which is at the top of this page, and browse all the startups so you can access their virtual booth and ask for discussions, read their pitch decks, and watch again their pitch video. So that's it for today. I hope you'll enjoy that session, and obviously feel free to ask intro. I remain at your full disposal in the chat of today's session if you have questions. Thanks. Hello everyone, and welcome to this really insightful panel. We're super happy to have these experts today to discuss about the latest trends in the mobility sectors. And I'm especially happy to have you guys, since you're all power users of the European Startup Prize for Mobility. As you know, we aim to be as open as possible since the EUSP goal is to develop a global ecosystem. And so this is why we aim to welcome as many investors as possible. Today, we'll talk about recent trends in the mobility sectors and try to ask ourselves, okay, what does the future holds basically for mobility? We all know that in order to achieve the net zero goals facing the environmental crisis, tackling the mobility emissions is super important, and we can already see it in the numbers. Last year, $9 billion were invested in the mobility sectors, and more than half of that funding went into infrastructure-related startup helping to develop charging solutions, EV battery solutions. So we can see that investors are really tackling that environmental issue. And for the first time ever, last year, 66% of the funding went into e-mobility startups. So this is an all-time high share, and obviously all the venture capital industry fully focused in supporting the emergence of e-mobility solutions. But looking at the emission sides is only part of the solution, I would say. More and more investments is going into the afterlife, the second life, I would say, of the mobility. But more must be done also for the during life period of the vehicle. A more sustainable and circular approach must be developed for the entire lifespan on vehicles. Another interesting trend is that Europe is catching up with the US. While Europe has witnessed a 26% drop In funding, the US witnessed a 50% drop in funding, showing a $10 billion in total in investment. And so for the first time that the gap has been really, really close. And we know that the market is mainly driven by e-mobility. But that's not all, and that's it for the context. Let's jump into today's discussions. Now you're on the same page on what happened last year. So I'm super pleased to have you guys. Thanks again for taking the time for joining me on this panel. I will just briefly offer you the opportunity to introduce yourself before jumping into today's discussion. Maybe starting from the left to the right on my screen. Tom, if you can start by introducing yourself.
Okay, hi, I'm Tom Horsey. I'm one of the co-founders of the Connected Mobility Hub, which is an association, pan-European association of smart mobility startups that we set up about 7.5 years ago now. And I'm managing partner at Ionic Fund, which is an early stage VC fund focused on Spanish-based founders.
Thanks, Rafael.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm the managing director of Techstars Sustainability in Paris. For those who don't know yet, Techstars, we're the most active pre-seed investor in the world with more than 3,800 companies in our portfolio, worth more than $100 billion. We exist since 16 years now, born in Boulder, Colorado, but present in several hubs all around the world, where Paris stands for the Center of Climate Tech. During the last 2.5 years, I invested in 60 companies, regardless of their technologies and sectors. And obviously, mobility is a really big focus point. We invested in companies in France that are also part of the sector we're talking about, typically Pelican Mobility and BIB batteries. But we're really keen about energy storage, energy production, saving, battery operation, but also direct air capture or SAF. And I'm really happy to be sharing the discussion with you today.
Thanks, Rafael. Luis?
Last but not least, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Louis Fearn, and I'm a principal with InMotion Ventures, which is the venture capital arm of Jaguar Land Rover. We're an early stage investor based in London, but we have a global investment remit. So we have a particular focus on the UK, US, European, and Israeli ecosystems. Since our launch in 2016, we've made well over 30 investments, with a healthy proportion of those sitting within the mobility sector. In my role specifically, I lead our team's climate tech thesis, and I've got a keen interest and focus on topics such as electrification, industrial decarbonization, and advanced materials.
Thanks, guys. So, Louis, great that you're talking about electrification. Maybe starting with you, we said that for the first time ever, we witnessed an all-time high share of funding that went into electrification. According to you, what challenges do you foresee in maintaining or even increasing that investment share into electrification and e-mobility startups?
Yeah, I think it's a really good point, Vincent, and it's a trend that we've also taken part of with a few investments in this space over the last year. We've taken a really close look at grid flexibility services, in particular, and we're seeing a lot of innovation in startups bringing about that sort of connected, dynamic, flexible grid connection. There's been a real increase in the distribution of decentralized energy assets like EVs, but also solar, home batteries, which have opened up a huge opportunity for these flexibility services. And I think there's an incentive to do that as a user, because as cars do become connected, this will generate compensation for asset owners and also help balance the grid. But there's obviously challenges. I think one of these is the infrastructure play. The grid wasn't built to cope with the demand that we're putting into it now with these new forms of electricity. and power demand from EVs and energy storage units. So we've really got to rely on government-based initiatives, grant funding, infrastructure bills to help really build out the grid. And it's going to take time. And there's lots of players that need to play a part: energy utilities, OEMs, governments. The full value chain need to come together. But it's an exciting play. And yeah, no, it's one that I'm following closely, especially as the grid home and cars are becoming increasingly connected in that VPP play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks. And Rafael, do you agree given your holistic approach, thanks to your investment thesis, do you agree with the challenges that are raised by Louis?
Yes, well, could not agree more. Maybe something we can add is also I'm seeing a lot of work on the ground with the increase of the battery capacities, whether thanks to biotech or traditional clean tech, which makes it a different level, whether for industrial batteries, for traditional EV cars, to last longer, to be more recyclable, to be able to have the battery change at the cell level, or just to be able also to operate better fleets in order to adapt to the need of the routes, basically. So in my opinion, this is really important. Another thing that we can add is, I think there is a new era for the renewable energies, namely solar and wind energy are also seeing a rebirth, basically, after the burst of the clean tech bubble some years ago, because indeed, as the demand is increasing and the capacity to store this energy, we can now look at some solutions that are near shore solar farms, typically, or urban wind turbines that are really interesting and far more competitive as of now. And well, finally, I think also in the electricity trading sphere, industrial large-scale batteries are becoming more and more important, as we can use them to offload the grid, as it is now being really challenged by all the energy coming from the clean sources.
What's interesting also in that space is that we witness more and more corporates that are actually involved in the VC market. So I know that more and more Spanish corporate venture capitals are investing in the mobility field. What's your opinion of that? According to you, why are corporates more and more investing in that clean mobility space?
Yeah, okay. I think I think there are multiple reasons for that. One is obviously that post-COVID and the digitalization of all sectors, it's become very clear for everybody. It doesn't matter if it's Joe Blogs or if it's, CEO of corporate X, right? That everything's digitalizing. Everything we're doing, you add in transversal technology like AI, and it just blows everything away. Everything's being digitalized, everything's tracked, everything's being, we're collating the data and we're optimizing on it. So that's one reason. So that this has happened. I think another reason is partially, we're talking a lot here about infrastructure, and it is true. I think if I was to take two trends in smart mobility, it would be sustainable mobility, which is obviously there. We'd start talking about climate tech and whatever, and it would be energy transition, right? So I mean, they overlap obviously, but those would be the two main areas. And I think the third reason, and this is quite related to to that last point, is that a lot of the innovations that have been done in smart mobility or that in the last 10 years have been done in the last, not in the last 2 or 3 years. If we look at everything from ride hailing to multimodal transport, etc., logistics optimization, all of these things haven't, they were done. The early stage startups were developing these solutions 6-7 years ago. 5-6 years ago. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. And we're now in a moment of consolidation of those technologies and those innovations in the market. Obviously, that's the perfect scenario for a corporate to get involved and to industrialize, shall we say, the solutions, take them and scale them up, right? That's what corporates are good at, right? So I think those, more spending on infrastructure, which needs deeper pockets, which tends to be corporate, more consolidation in the market, which tends to be where corporates can add in more, and then also that this common knowledge, which now is common knowledge, that really everything is digitalizing. I think those three trends sort of pushed corporates towards this in a way that previously maybe they were a little bit more reticent.
That's interesting. Louis, what's your take on that?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting one. I certainly get that point about corporates coming in at a sort of later stage, which is traditionally when they have been entering the market. But on the back of the market correction, we saw a lot of corporates actually coming earlier in the process. And I was reading a piece in Global Corporate Venturing that nearly a quarter of all corporate-backed funding rounds in 2023 were at the seed stage and very early rounds, which traditionally just wouldn't have been the case. And I think this is on the back of founders really seeking out more near-term revenue pathways, as traditional VCs have become stricter about the metrics that are required at that sort of earlier stage of the life cycle. So corporates have been allowed to enter at an earlier stage where they wouldn't have done that otherwise. And I think we're part of that trend because we've taken part in some pre-seed deals and seed deals over the last 12 months where, one, we wouldn't have had the opportunity to, and two, didn't have the appetite for. So that's a trend that I've really been aware of.
All I was going to add there is that, yeah, I agree, come in at earlier stages, but I think I'm more focused on the technologies are more consolidated, not necessarily the startup. If a multimodal startup starts operating today, the technology is far more consolidated. It's not, you're not making a bet now on the startup, the founders, and the business model and the technology. You're making a bet on the founders executing correctly.
No, definitely. Rafael, this one is for you, considering that you have such a global presence, through Techstars and such an active investor. I said previously that Europe is catching up with the US. Europe has proven to be quite resilient. According to you, since you have this global perspective, what are the strengths of the European mobility market in the venture capital?
Well, definitely the US remain ahead when it comes to validation and liquidity capacity. I think earlier stage venture are raising faster in the US. Doesn't mean that they're raising higher amount, just for a higher valuation. But definitely, I think Europe is a great place to start a venture in the mobility space because, well, first of all, we have cutting edge regulation when it comes to mobility and sustainability. The mindset of the people, definitely, all the customers are pushing towards a more sustainable approach of the cities, of the lifestyle. And well, we're also pretty well off when it comes to subsidies to start companies. France is a great example, but with the EU also pushing towards that direction, especially now for hardware startups. I think we have a good mix to lead when it comes to the mobility sector. This being said, well, with the Inflation Reduction Act, obviously scale-ups tend to develop in Europe and then are fleeing to the US because they have great opportunities. But well, it's a tough market this day, I would say, and nothing is done yet. We have the US election this year as well. Well, I think Europe is in good condition.
No, it's true that the subsidies and government-backed, I would say, as funding is playing a massive role in the market. In our city, we see that the most active investor is actually the EIT, Urban Mobility, that is EU Commission-backed. Tom, Louis, do you agree that subsidies is one of the main strengths of the European market?
Yeah, it's definitely a strength. I think there's certainly a need for more non-dilutive funding. I think that is what can really help scale, as Raphael said, especially climate tech hardware startups, where speed and scale are so important, and doing that in a costly manner without getting too diluted as a founder is super important. Like, where is that capital coming from in today's market? Equity is expensive for these climate hardware startups, but also so is cost of capital and debt financing now, given today's interest rates. So it's really forced founders to get smarter about where the financing comes from. And yes, we're competing against the US with the Inflation Reduction Act. I think there's up to 400 billion there of federal funding for tax credits, loans, grants, all these different forms of funding that can help founders. EU, yeah, we're very good with the European Green Deal. I think the European Investment Bank has some very good venture debt programs as well. But if we take a look at our portfolio, the game-changing grants have come from the US. One battery recycling company in the US called Ascend Elements received $480 million as part of their Series C from the US Department of Energy, which is just a mammoth amount of money, very difficult to compete against. But we've also had examples of UK-based companies like EV Energy go to the US market and win competitive grants. They won a $41 million grant recently from the California Energy Commission. So it shows that it's still possible for UK and European-based companies to access those grants, but there needs to be much more coming our way in Europe. It's great, but there's room to build on.
That definitely. Some emerging trends that we do witness, even though it's super small in terms of funding, is all the data-driven mobility solutions that helps to, have the big corporates in monitoring the carbon emissions. So we do know that the CSRD is rolling out, and that the big players are facing an increase in pressure in carbon cutting for mobility. And when we know that mobility accounts for more than 30% of their emissions, it's become very crucial. And often the emerging trend is obviously the circular economy for mobility. More and more funding, and that is directed towards the end of life, even though I would say the stock of the EVs is not as high as expected. According to you, what are the emerging trends? Which startup should the investor be looking for? It's maybe starting with you, Tom.
Oh, that's a difficult question to answer. You could have started with somebody else there. No, it's what I say. I've seen less innovation in terms of, when I say less innovation, I mean less things that go, wow, that's something completely new happening in the last year and a half, really, maybe even 2 years in terms of mobility generally. I mean, you've mentioned their data-driven services, and as I was saying earlier, we're now able to collate data better and treat that data, work with that data better through artificial intelligence, and that's something that all companies are able to do better with the newer tools that have come onto the market. Obviously, circular economy makes a lot of sense. Whether that's because of the lack of rare metals or just because of a sort of a climate focused policy. I've seen a couple of things that are sort of the innovations I've seen have been sort of weird and wonderful. And a lot of these, if you say, have been sort of EIT, urban mobility supported startups, doing things from fancy locks for bicycles to intelligent paving for roads. But you know, nothing that you see is just so incredibly scalable as a sort of a subsector of smart mobility. In terms of sort of those sort of subsectors of smart mobility, and I go back to what we said at the beginning, it's been more sort of things focused around energy transition, energy as a service. Raphael spoke earlier about sort of trading or solutions revolving around buying and selling and storing technology, storage solutions, through to people doing weird and wonderful stuff with batteries, new types of batteries, through to solutions for actually creating that energy in the first place, that again are a little bit weird and wonderful, far too scientific for me, but I can sort of understand the basic concepts. But none of that's pure mobility. So it's more sort of energy transition and climate tech to a certain extent. In terms of pure mobility, you know, everything in terms of sort of data driven. That's certainly, you know, more cars are smart cars. There's more smart infrastructure in towns and cities. You know, you can start collating that information and doing interesting stuff with it, and that, you know, that's a sort of evolving practice.
Okay, Raphael, what's your take on that?
Strongly agree with Tom. Indeed, I think mobility is at the intersection with a lot of different trends, basically. But not to repeat, I would add what's happening in the critical minerals mining industry, basically, is attracting more and more investors. We have seen, several years ago, Cobalt developing in the US, that is now a big company. They own their own mine, basically, now. But earlier stage, we have companies such as Lysis Energy or Miners AI using big data and AI to actually be able to relocate mine where they are consumed, or to open new mine in a more sustainable way. So I think this was seen as niche by investors 2 years ago, although now it's really an area of focus. I've seen a lot of investors debating the topic lately. And also, large-scale battery storage. Sorry, I kind of talked about it already, but with the progresses we have made with machine learning and now AI, it's becoming more and more efficient. And again, the grid as regulation that is pretty owned by each country, but now it's less and less true. And as big players are owning their own assets, large-scale batteries in many different countries, they're ready to invest in such tools that are fully digitized. And that makes it a good deal for investors not ready to invest in big assets. So yeah, I think overall it's a big infrastructure play. I think Luis and Tom, you mentioned it already. Now we can't only go for the digitization and a platform effect. We have to invest heavily in infrastructure. This is already into play with the EV charging station, hydrogen station, fully supported by the state or the Europe. But we have seen that many investors, as I'm sure there are a lot listening to us right now, are getting more professional when it comes to project development, project finance, because we need true infrastructure to come into play. And this is also where we have seen new giants such as Vercor, Northvolt evolving. And obviously, those big manufacturers of batteries have a big impact on the mobility sector.
So guys, we're running out of time, but I would like to ask you a very important question. We have here one of the most promising startups that have been successfully identified among plus 700 applications because they all want to scale at the European level. So very quickly, what would be your advice to successfully secure funding in the current environment, Louis?
Where do I start? I think it's important for founders to identify investors that share their long-term objectives and goals, because there's a lot to gain from partnering someone with a sort of more considered approach to scaling, especially in today's market. I think that the growth at all costs mentality, it can work in some cases, but in others it can be quite harmful, especially earlier on in a company's life cycle. So that alignment of vision is really important. I think, as I mentioned earlier on, I think if you include specialist investors as part of early stage funding rounds, someone that can sort of help commit to the sustainable product roadmap of the company, and also give access to early stage revenue, whether that's through co-development agreements or POCs, that can be very useful. So I would certainly recommend partnering with investors with deep sector expertise and someone that's sort of aligned in their sort of future outlook.
Tom, anything to add?
Yeah, I think in terms of you're specifically focusing here on scaling up, and I think to scale up, the most important thing now is to build your playbook, show that it really works, whatever sector or target client, your ICP, what you show that it can really work, and keep a close eye on the metrics. And then when you show that you can do this profitably, but you need funding to scale it up, then you can go to the investors and show them this sort of putting in funding and saying, no, it will all be right in the end, and allowing people to build their playbook as they for scaling up as they go. That's not quite so in vogue. Whereas if you can show that, look, it really works here, this is how we're going to scale it up, and then you take that to an investor, then we talked about corporates, well, even more so than I think it's possible. And then in terms of what Louis said, in terms of sort of value added or smart money, we've always believed that smart money is the important thing. If you look at an XY graph, and you look at day one and day 2000, right? In day one, the money makes a lot of difference because there's been no time to add value. But in day 2000, the money makes no difference. If the company's dead, it's dead. It's gone. If the company's making good money, well, you could have got it. You could get it with debt funding or a grant along the way or whatever. Whereas the value added an investor can add in day one is zero. At the end of 2000 days, there's a lot of opportunity to add value. So if you choose an investor that can add value, then you've got 2000 days to get it out of them, and if they can't add value, well then their money's worth nothing at the end of the period anyway. But I'm exaggerating, obviously it's worth something, but not as much as it was in day zero, certainly.
Thanks, Raphael.
Yeah, in other words, focus on sale. Because we are currently reviewing application, because we're sourcing for our next 12 investment to start the program in September. And I think there is a consensus here that good idea is not sufficient anymore early stage. You need to show that you have a strong traction, meaning customers ready to pay. So it's simple. We are here to build businesses, and we need to prove to our LPs that the return on investment is going to be good, because we're focused on business. So good sales traction, this is what we like.
Wise words. Thanks a lot, guys. It was a really insightful and interesting to discuss about you, and getting your different perspectives. Thanks a lot for taking the time for joining this panel. Now it's time to continue today's event. You'll soon be able to join the Expo tab at the top of the page and request intros with the founders, but also follow the soon to be started pitch session hopefully you'll really enjoy this event, and thanks for joining us. Thanks a lot also to my guests for joining this panel.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Hello everyone, we are Dronamics. Dronamics is the world's first licensed cargo drone airline. The problem that we are solving is that currently same-day delivery is inaccessible for the majority of the population. The delivery networks that are deployed across several continents are very asset heavy, and they require a lot of fulfillment centers in order to guarantee same-day delivery. With our solution, you can guarantee a same-day delivery across multiple sectors that require time-sensitive deliveries. The solution is our proprietary drone. We design and manufacture a fleet of unmanned aircraft that are capable of carrying 350 kgs on a range of 2,500 kilometers. We are suited for high volume capacity with 3.5 cubic meters. And currently our engine is powered by gasoline with the ambition to transition to sustainable aviation fuel. We do not provide only the aircraft, but also the supporting infrastructure in order to offer a same-day delivery service to our customers. The business model is that we operate as an airline, so we pre-sell capacity on the lanes we develop, and we operate as a middle-mile delivery service, integrating into the capacities of our clients. We're launching our disruptive service this year in Greece with our launch partners from Helmond Worldwide Logistics and Hellenic Posts. And we have already secured proof of concept flights and market entries into several markets, including the United Arab Emirates and Australia. Our team is coming from various backgrounds in aerospace engineering, business aviation, and logistics, and we are ready to scale our solution. So far, we have raised 4 million USD to achieve that deployment, and we are looking for an additional 50 million in our Series A that will help us commercialize the initial fleet of aircraft.
Hello, I'm Eric Darkoren, CEO and co-founder of Zebus, a progressive software company that brings advanced navigation assistance products to the market. Autonomous navigation solutions and AI are set to change the face of waterborne mobility and shipping forever, enabling a new level of safe, energy-efficient, sustainable, and crew-optimized maritime operations. For instance, autonomy is becoming a strong driver for large-scale electrification of waterborne mobility due to the radical cost savings incurred during operations, mitigating the cost of the electrification. Zebus is based on decades of applied and cutting-edge research on maritime autonomy at the Norwegian University of Science and Technology, and was founded by a team of experts and serial entrepreneurs. We are partnering with the strongest industry leaders to bring our technology to the market. The latest addition to the ecosystem is Damen Shipyard Group from the Netherlands, a global player in the maritime industry who has invested in us and is bringing customers our way from all over the world. As I said, autonomy and AI will change the face of waterborne mobility and shipping forever, and the market is expanding quickly right now. Zebus has the team and the technology to define and grab this enormous opportunity, and we are raising 7 million euros to secure and sustain that position. Joining our round is a rare opportunity to take part in a journey that will change how the world connects over water. Thank you.
Welcome to Ava Energy, a beacon of innovation in the heart of London. Born from the minds of leading academics and driven by the passion of myself and Kieran, we are on a mission to accelerate our move to electrification sustainably. Our journey began at the renowned Imperial College London and the University of Birmingham, where pioneering research in battery engineering and electrochemistry led to groundbreaking discoveries. Batteries are the heartbeat of modern technology. yet their complexity poses significant challenges. Industry faces a daunting task: navigate these complexities or risk huge financial loss and environmental damage. At About Energy, we've harnessed decades of research to develop a deep understanding of batteries. Our state-of-the-art measurement techniques have culminated in user-friendly, sophisticated software tools. Our main IP lies in battery measurements, parameterization, and modeling. With a patent in thermal control and cell teardown IP, About Energy generates extremely accurate data to characterize cell behavior, which we use to make advanced digital models of batteries. We are only one of a handful of companies in the world capable of actually producing electrochemical models.
About Energy's battery models are used throughout the battery value chain, from cell material developers and cell manufacturers to companies designing battery systems such as automotive and aerospace. We're revolutionizing the industry by centralizing battery measurement and modeling, which gives us economies of scale to do this repeatedly and quickly. Our approach promises reduced time to market, diminished commercial risks, and substantial cost savings. Our journey is fueled by substantial seed investments and backing of top brands like Porsche.
We are a vibrant team of engineers, scientists, developers, and business minds, bolstered by advisors from the highest echelons of industry. We are About Energy. Join us on our mission to electrify the future and make a lasting impact on the environment.
Good afternoon. Great to be here today on this demo day. We are all aware of the negative impact of recreational boating on the environment. The maritime industry accounts for 3% of global emission of greenhouse gases, and the International Maritime Organization aims to achieve zero emission by 2050. Electric propulsion is recognized as a solution to ICE engines. Aqua Superpower's mission is to accelerate the transition to electric boating on the water and decarbonize transport by removing one of the key barriers, that is, the charging infrastructure. Our objective is to create and operate a global network of superfast chargers with a unique user experience at zero cost to the Port Authority. We installed 50 chargers over the last 2 years in the US, the UK, Sweden, Spain, France, and Italy in the recreational segment. Our objective is to have 200 sites by the end of 2050 and to expand into commercial and inland waterway segments. We applied for the CEF AFIF program with the support of Caisse des Dépôts as implementing partner. Our deployment program will be funded by internal shareholders, the CEF AFIF program, Caisse des Dépôts, and external round of finance. We are currently looking for 30 million euros for this exciting project to help protect our oceans and help meet the 2050 zero emission objectives. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Pietro, co-founder of Refilla. What we do at Refilla is addressing the challenges of the future green energy transition, charging innovative solutions for electric mobility, but also designing a circular model for end-of-life automotive batteries and improving renewable energy generation thanks to energy storage. This is how we see the urban environment of the future. Everything is going to be electric, and everything will need power and energy, from EV to energy communities and more. To this scenario, we have a solution. This is our Philly, our mobile charging device that can provide up to 160 kilometers of drivable range in less than 30 minutes, using 100% second life batteries. What does it mean we use second life batteries? It means that we take used batteries that they have done a first life on the vehicles, and after a qualification and repurpose, we give those batteries a second life in our mobile storage device, the Philly. After 5 years on the Philly, they can go back to the recycling and closing the loop. Now let's get to our traction. We are B2B focused, and we've worked so far with many industry leaders, testing many use cases, from the car sharing to parking and corporate fleets, but also emergency and logistics. Now the team, myself and the other two founders, have more than 30 years of automotive experience. We have a strong team to help us shape our vision and a great advisory board as well. We're looking for an investor for our 3 million round to be closed in Q2 2024, and we have currently 50% of the round committed. And our last year highlights were 200K of revenue, more than 10 megawatt hours delivered, 2 tons of CO2 saved, and our journey doesn't stop here. We have a vision for a product portfolio expansion in the next year, smaller device for personal energy to something larger, like for bus or trucks charging and larger energy storage requirements. Everything shaped with our vision with second life batteries. Thank you very much.
This is a Squad, world's first solar city car for sharing in private use. The Squad is a city car designed for all the short trips around their house. Groceries and shopping, bringing the kids to school, sports club, going out, restaurants and social visits. Worldwide cities are struggling with emissions, congestion and parking problems. We also see urbanization and aging populations. EV charging infrastructure is still inadequate in many cities. Many European cities are implementing increasingly stricter low emission zones. Many Europeans can't afford an electric car. The swappable batteries are directly charged from the solar panel on the top of on the roof of the car. It can charge up to 30 kilometers per day in Europe on direct solar energy. The average daily usage of microcars is around 12 kilometers per day. The Squad is very compact. 3 squads fit on a regular parking place. We are 2 ex-Lightyear employees with each more than 25 years of experience in mobility. We both worked at Piaggio companies in Italy and Spain. I was one of the initiators of the Fiat Formula E and the Chinese team in the Fiat Formula E, China Racing, later sold to NIO. My partner Chris Klock worked at Renault and developed the Lightyear 1 solar car. The swappable batteries can also be charged on a regular charge port. 4 swappable batteries give a range of 100 kilometers. The Squad is very affordable and starts at around 6,250 euros. The Squad is positioned in between the e-moped and the car. We see a gap in the market between 5,000 and 10,000 euros. The Squad is specifically designed for sharing and for mobility as a service, with the automatic charging, durable design and easy access and operation. We will also develop connected and IoT features such as remote diagnostics, predictive maintenance, software updates and remote control. We aim to grow to 20,000 units in 2027 and we are developing a complete portfolio of products including the faster L7 and the 4-person version. We're working on a 12 million euro Series A round which will bring us into production including the tooling. We have had huge worldwide PR coverage and a solid social media following, resulting in more than 4,500 pre-orders with an average pre-order fee of around 60 euros. The main markets are business-to-business fleet and business-to-consumer markets worldwide, mostly in the EU and the USA. Thank you very much.
Welcome to Anywhere, where green mobility meets innovation. Tiny is our groundbreaking answer to the urgent need for sustainable transportation. Compact, cost-effective, and built for rapid deployment, it's changing the way we move. In today's world, rising pollution levels and traffic congestion are pressing concerns. Cities need a sustainable and efficient solution. We cater to diverse customers, taxi fleets, delivery services, buses, and more, meeting the growing demand for green refueling solutions. Tiny, our compact and autonomous hydrogen refueling station, is the core of our solution. It combines cutting-edge technology and can be deployed swiftly, efficiently producing green hydrogen through an innovative proton exchange membrane electrolysis stack, high-pressure compressor, and advanced cooling system. It's adaptable to various locations and serves a wide range of vehicles, from cars to buses to off-road machinery. Anywhere's journey has been remarkable. We've secured a 5 million euros pre-seed investment and 2.5 million euros in subsidies. Our stations are already in operation, contracts are rolling in, and prestigious awards have recognized our impact. Our traction is solid. We've come a long way since our inception, and the road ahead is even more promising. Our success story wouldn't be complete without our team. With 20 experts in hydrogen technology and strategic advisors, we have the right expertise. Our collaborative approach and network ensure that we're always at the forefront of innovation. Meet the people driving our vision. To accelerate green mobility, we seek a $5 million pre-Series A funding, with substantial pre-seed investment and subsidies already secured. This investment will drive our expansion, further enhance our technology, and bring us closer to our goal of transforming transportation. Join us in shaping a sustainable future, anywhere, where innovation meets efficiency, driving a greener tomorrow.
Good afternoon, I'm Florian, the CFO of Innolit. We have developed a next-generation battery technology called iState. iState is a new liquid inorganic electrolyte that improves lithium-ion battery cells in all aspects. We are founded in 2018 and we have 45 people across 2 locations, and you see here some pictures from our lab in Germany. Our technology is well protected and we have more than 400 international patents. The current lithium-ion technology needs to be improved in terms of cost, energy density, safety, temperature range, recyclability, and fast charging in order to make the energy transition mainstream. In a very simplified way, the iState technology allows using of higher voltage. This is 4.6 volt with standard NMC cathode and up to 5 volt with new generation cathode materials. You can get much more performance out of the precious battery metals, which include lithium, nickel, and cobalt, which is a real cost saving. This is a key industry breakthrough moment. That is our first cell. It has significant improvements versus standard lithium-ion cells. It has lower cost as it uses less cathode material per kilowatt hour thanks to the higher voltage used. It has higher energy density, significantly reduced fire risk, better temperature performance, full recyclability of the electrolyte salt and solvent, top performance charging time, and with our iState technology, many other cells can be developed as well. We have significant customer traction. We have tested these cells with many large blue chip companies already and have secured joint development agreements and letters of intent. After NDA, I can tell you more about names. Our team, next to me, you have our CEO Konstantin as well as Markus and Laurent, the key scientists and inventors of iState, both with more than 20 years of battery experience. We are looking for partners to scale iState. If you have an angle to cooperate strategically, please reach out for a tailored discussion. For investment, we are doing a funding round right now of $17.5 million US. It is filling up quickly, so please reach out if you would like to discuss further.
Hello, I'm Kerem, CEO and co-founder of DeepVault. We're on a mission to harness the power of data to drive successful investments in e-mobility. Currently, Europe's infrastructure is operating at an average 8% utilization rate, far behind the 15% required for profitability, according to McKinsey. The main reason is poor location choices, mainly due to the difficulty of obtaining relevant data and analyzing them. That's where DeepVault steps in. We introduced DeepVault Location Intelligence Assistant, our AI-powered software that empowers users to identify the most profitable locations for EV chargers within minutes. Our solution democratizes location analytics, making it accessible to everyone. Delia is highly customizable to align with user strategies. We operate globally, supporting our clients' expansion, and we offer our services at a very competitive price. Our main clients include charge point operators looking for lucrative spots, governments and cities in need to improve infrastructure master plans, and consultants seeking to improve their services with advanced data analytics. Behind DeepVault is a passionate team of experts in e-mobility, AI, and SaaS solutions. We bring experiences and networks from top-notch organizations like the World Bank, Microsoft, and AWS. Our MVP is out, and we've got a solid pipeline of prospective clients, strategic sales and data partnerships, and a robust roadmap for growth. The recognition we've earned, including the honor of presenting today, along with the recommendation for investment to EIT Urban Mobility, reflects the exciting journey of DeepVault. We invite you all to join us on this journey. We are targeting 500,000 euros, so if you are interested, reach out and let's innovate AI for e-mobility transition together. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chris Cardet. I'm the founder and CEO of HeyCharge. We're based in Munich, Germany, and we're making EV charging reliable, costless, and scale better. So the root of the problem is that EV charging today is based on a technology that is both expensive and unreliable, and when you look closely, a lot of those challenges relate to connectivity. So we said, let's solve that connectivity problem. We actually use our own users' mobile devices to relay data between the cloud and the charger. This means the charger doesn't need a network connection, and also our users don't need a network connection when in front of the chargers. So that's solving both cost, scalability, and reliability problems right there. We took this innovation, which is patent pending by the way, and built our whole EV charging operations business in Germany, where we install in buildings with underground parking, typically apartments, offices. And this allows us to both demonstrate the technology, but also show the value proposition. And actually, speaking of that, we've managed to close a really massive proportion of the German real estate asset management market. This shows that we're coming in with a product that has better pricing and a better user experience than our competitors, and it makes it really easy to win business. So a lot of tech companies invent technology to meet their own immediate needs and then realize, no, actually that innovation is the technology itself. And so we are doing the same thing. We are actually platformizing our innovation and selling it to charge point operators globally. It's actually going really well. We almost had our first $1 million revenue year last year. We're seeing over 3x year-over-year increase. I think we'll actually beat that substantially this year. We have about a 500 charger, almost 90 site pipeline for our operated business, but the real scale story is going to be how we scale this through our customers. So our leadership team is Robert and myself. We both come from tech, mobility, and energy. And you see we have an investor slate that's really well aligned with our product space. What we're raising right now is what we call a pre-Series A. We've got a really cool pipeline of about 5 strategic deals that will allow us to achieve Series A KPIs by the end of the year. So things like a 1,000-unit deal with a US operator and a white label deal with a big tech conglomerate. So we just need the funds to get through the year, deliver on these deals, and we'll be there for a Series A towards the end of the year. Hope I got you excited. Thanks very much, and I'll look forward to your questions.
Hello everyone, nice to meet you. I'm Dylan Kieva, engineer at Hive Electric, and I will introduce our company. Okay, so I will introduce the company. So Hive Electric was created in 2019 in Lille, in north of France. We have international team with battery engineers and experts in electrochemistry for our cells. We develop new technologies in our R&D lab for cells and batteries without critical materials such as NMC, nickel, manganese, cobalt. We already commercialized batteries since 2022 using LFP mature technology. The true value of Hive Electric is tailor-made batteries according to any requirements, and we developed the next generation batteries with solid states and metal-ion technology. So Hive Electric has been awarded by more than 15 awards in technology, innovation, automotive, certification. So the problem we want to solve is critical dependency on non-European critical metals, especially in Asia and South of America, the lack of safety with this explosion of battery, and the heavy environmental impact. So to solve it, we develop advanced technologies. So we develop our own LFP in France with a lot of benefits, such as less lithium content, more energy density, more cycle, extreme temperature. This is the mature technology, and next to this, we are developing metal-ion technology and solid states. This is more safe and also it's more efficient. So we promote the premium quality, French touch, and sovereignty at Hive Electric. So this is typically the catalog we design for our batteries. So we have 3 files: stationary, embedded, and mobile batteries. We use these batteries with LFP mature technologies. And so to conclude, of course, we are looking for fundraising and investor to develop our potential business, and we will be delighted to welcome you at Hive Electric. Thank you.
We are Babertus, and we are extending the lifetime of batteries in mobility. This is important because almost 50% of the CO2 emissions of an electric vehicle are coming from the battery. When we have implemented the batteries in the vehicles, we are using them on average for roughly 10 years before we start recycling them, with an average of 75% of their initial capacity left, simply because there is no good way of prolonging the lifetime and reusing those batteries. And that's exactly the point where we are jumping in with our solution. And this is a combination of software and hardware that gives us the ability to prolong the lifetime by up to 80%, reduce the CO2 footprint of the vehicles by up to 5%, and making the reuse possible by a simple software update with no hardware changes, and with this even more prolonging the lifetime. With this technology, we are operating in a $200 billion market and a massive potential to participate on this share. We are bootstrapped till now, and we've won our first big customer contract at the beginning of this year, which we are already working on. Additionally, we received so far more than €1 million in public grants, totally equity-free. The current status is that we founded the company, generated our first revenues, also handed in our first patents, and the aim for the customer project is that we are going to have a TRL7 prototype at the beginning of 2025. With this, I want to invite you to join our vision to enable a data-driven battery ecosystem to prolong the battery lifetime for batteries in mobility and enable a long-lasting, circular and sustainable mobility. You're warmly invited to be a mentor for us, to connect for business reasons, and also if you're an early stage impact investor, we're super happy to talk to you.
Let's talk about internet on roads. Have you ever tried to make a video call, Zoom or FaceTime on roads, on the train? We've all been there. It simply does not work.
There's a stat for that. 40% of European highways suffer from poor internet.
On average, a typical internet sessions last 2 minutes. And if it's a frustration to all of us on an everyday basis, it's a complete roadblock for all the new applications of the mobility sector that do depend on connectivity.
If we want teleoperated shuttles everywhere, we need connectivity everywhere.
If we want mobility as a service, we need connectivity everywhere. That's our mission. At Stellar, we bring digital life to vehicles that are becoming smartphone on wheels, and to passengers like you and me. A perfect internet on all roads. So how do we do it exactly? Simply put, we use Steer, our AI-based software, to take advantage of all available cellular, Wi-Fi and satellite networks everywhere. Imagine you are traveling between the city and the countryside. Our Steer software already knows where every network is good or bad, so it connects to the best network seamlessly. And one last thing, Steer does not require any change of hardware on vehicles.
That's why we already did many demonstrations with big car manufacturers and their suppliers. You see, that's the first car in the world that connects cellular, Wi-Fi and satellite seamlessly. A couple of months ago, we let the CEO of a big car manufacturer have a ride in the countryside in a car which was connected by Stellar. He had a video call with his colleagues and it works perfectly.
I'm Jean-Michel Stibal, President and co-founder at Railway. Do we want reliable rail infrastructure? The answer is yes. We are all expecting to have an eco-transition from high-carbon transportation to a more efficient transportation mode, the train. However, in the current situation, we are facing major roadblock. One, rail is not at the expected level of service. Well over 10% of the trains in Europe are either late or cancelled, 45% because of infra issue. Two, infrastructure is aging, an average of 30 years old in Europe. Three, currently maintenance is either preventive or corrective, and in both cases it's costly and not efficient. As a paradox, data is everywhere, thanks to IoT, sensor inspection train, but less than 20% of the data is actually being used. Also, analysis done by segment or subsegment and not with a global view. Our solution is based on the following value proposition. We leverage all available data. We provide a 360-degree view with contextual analysis, and we deliver a predictive maintenance plan with a SaaS solution. With the following benefits: improving infrastructure availability up to 30% while reducing costs by 15%. Why railway? We started the adventure in 2021. To date, we are 17 with operation in France and in Spain. We have an experienced team with a double DNA, data, AI on one side and rail infrastructure on the other side. We have an innovative solution, which is a real game changer, and our solution is operational. Regarding financing, today equity is 100% amongst the management team. We are now at the acceleration stage, and we are ready for our first round of external funding. Thank you for your attention.
Hey everyone, I'm Santi, one of the co-founders of Papaya. I've been during the last 10 years in the last mile logistics tech industry, and in my last experience, I was building a sustainable fleet. Then I realized how electrifying a fleet is really hard. I had two main problems. One, sourcing the fleet was really hard as I needed multiple vehicle types and no one could provide me that. And then is when managing a fleet was harder because each of these service providers had their own systems, causing interoperability issues. As a result, my vehicle on-road time was not great, increasing my operational cost and driving huge inefficiencies. I then realized that fleets and service providers were lacking one system to interact within each other. So that's the main reason why we built Papaya, one-stop shop platform that allows you to source, run, and manage electric fleets. We already launched 3 products for these fleets and service providers. One is the operational tool, an agnostic fleet management system with operational workflows. The second one that is integrated into it is the communication tool, allowing you to communicate and collaborate with multiple external partners using the same workflows. And the last one is the marketplace, that is one-stop shop platform where you can find sustainable vehicles that are aggregated from our service partners. With Papaya, we add value in both parts of the ecosystem, allowing fleet operators like logistics players, delivery service partners, and last mile fleets to interact with these service providers like OEMs, dealers, and maintenance providers, allowing them to work together and interacting within each other to support those fleets. This is creating market efficiencies driven by our data insights. We launched less than 2 years ago, and we're already working with over 60 partners across 19 countries, helping them to manage more than 8,000 vehicles. During this year, we're increasing our European footprint, mainly focusing on enabling as many fleets, OEMs, and service providers to work within each other, removing any barriers for electrifications, providing our digital infrastructure. So if you know any of those players in the last mile in the light vehicle industry, please get in touch and we'll be really happy to help them. This is just the beginning to become the biggest ecosystem of sustainable vehicles in the world, becoming the main platform to make sustainable fleets a reality. Thank you so much for your time, and please get in touch if we can help you or any of your contacts.
Hello everybody, I'm Dennis, founder and CEO of DC Connected, and today I will show you our solution for AI-driven vehicle diagnostics. In our daily work in the repair and maintenance world, we've seen that problems on modern vehicles are pretty complex, time-consuming, and we have a shortage of skilled technicians. So what we've said is let's combine cutting-edge AI with real-world vehicle diagnostics and transform the way how we maintain mobility. So we've built our virtual technician. Within our B2B SaaS solution, we've connected the diagnostic functionalities of connected cars, trained AI models with diagnostic and repair know-how, and offered the solution over chat and speech interface for easy usage. With that, our customers and their technical partners can access fast and cost-efficient health analysis and troubleshooting on their vehicles. Until today, we've onboarded 3 major OEMs with their diagnostic functionalities, trained our AI with millions of datasets from the repair and maintenance world, and signed the first commercial contracts within the warranty and damage space. With our first external funding, our seed funding last year, we are now rolling out the solution in the roadside assistance area all over Europe. This is only possible with an outstanding team from the automotive, software and AI, and for sure warranty insurance space, like you can see here. Currently, we are looking for commercial partnerships within 3 different areas. In the automotive aftermarket, helping technicians out there to diagnose problems more efficient, to use our virtual technician in vehicle and help drivers directly with their problems, or to help people in the online used car trade to have a deeper look inside the connected vehicles and the health status. Thank you, and I hope we see you later in the exhibition.
Hi everyone, I'm Helene, the expansion lead at Velobus, and we're the smart ID for bicycles, enabling bike stores to collaborate effectively with their partners. The bike industry is fragmented, and as it grows, more players join. However, there is no standard way to share information, so each player has to operate independently. Now, this forces bike stores to use a separate system for each of their partners. So for their manufacturers, their leasing companies, their insurance, and so on, they all have to use different systems. The result is that information about each bicycle is scattered across these systems, and bike stores are left without a clear understanding of which bicycle they have in front of them and what contracts are connected. Their partners, on the other hand, receive only partial and limited data on the bicycles. Now, here comes in Velobus. We are breaking down silos and making collaboration easier by connecting a smart ID to every bicycle. Essentially, what we provide is a digital copy of the bicycle containing information on parts, maintenance history, contracts, and ownership. All partners of bike stores can then tap into this digital copy, ensuring access to complete and structured data. It means smoother operation for bike stores and clear and complete insights for partners. And not only professionals can benefit from this smart ID. Cyclists also get a digital passport of their bike, allowing the bike store to offer its services on the cyclist phone at any time. In only the last 1.5 years, we worked with over 800 bike stores across 3 countries. We partner with major leasing and insurance companies in Europe and are working with bike brands such as Oxford, Thompson, and others. Now, we truly believe that we got an amazing team to scale this. Our co-founders and investors are active in the mobility industry in over 20 years and have each founded and developed several companies with major clients such as BMW and Porsche. Our co-founders have also previously co-founded a company successfully together, which was sold to LeasePlan in only 3 years. We've secured 1.8 million euros in capital in total, with 1.2 million from our co-founders and an additional 600k from angel investors. Now we're looking forward to meet seed stage investors that are interested in supporting mobility startups in advance of our seed round in the second half of 2024, which we will use for European expansion. Thank you so much and looking forward to meeting you.
Everybody is talking about electric cars, but to really save emissions, we need to talk about electrifying trucks and heavy vehicles. The problem is not buying them, it's recharging them, because recharging such a truck needs as much power as a 20-story building or 50 households. When we designed the power grid 100 years ago, nobody thought of them, and that is why today we have power shortages in highways, on depots, and in parking lots. Extending the grid is often costly, time-intense, or even technically not feasible. And that is why we need to find another solution. And that is the world's first grid-independent charging station. From concept to reality, this fast charging station is not tied to any cable or infrastructure, so it can be placed wherever you need it. It has 150 kilowatts of charging power, so 200 kilometers in 10 minutes. It holds 4 megawatt hours of energy, and it can be used anytime, 24/7, anywhere. Instead of batteries, we're using this: biomass or waste-based liquids, methanol or ethanol. They give us 20 times more energy density than any battery. We can rely on a huge partner network to supply them locally and are not relying on any energy imports. Once filled in the station, we can use our patented generator system to generate 150 kilowatts of carbon-neutral power. It generates carbon certificates with every kilowatt hour and is more sustainable than a solar panel over a 15-year lifetime. We now take this amazing machine and turn it into a product, charging as a service. We can offer a pay-per-use model for only 29 cents, including all hardware and services. And the best thing, we're breaking even versus diesel with just one truck charge per day. For this product, there is a huge market. Over 50 billion until 2030 is missing because the grid is just not keeping up with all the infrastructure we need. We see that already today, and that is why customers like Sixt, DPD, MAN, Mercedes, Total Energies, the German police, and many more are already using our solution, and we have over 50 million of sales in the pipeline. All possible with our team of 30 developers, engineers, and creatives making a change every day. We're currently raising a Series A of 10 million, with 5 million already committed. We're looking for 1 or 2 investors to join our mission to take diesel trucks off the road and make transportation finally sustainable.
Hello everyone, my name is Belén Moreno and I'm very happy to be here today with you in order to explain to you what HSL Technologies does. HSL Technologies is a company that was founded in 2015 thanks to the discovery of an amazing molecule called hydroxyl. This molecule can actually transport or store hydrogen via the existing infrastructures in a liquid form. Because indeed today hydrogen is a key element in the energy transition, but its logistics remain complex and expensive. That's why we have conceived a new way to transport green hydrogen by reusing the existing infrastructures for long distances and massive quantities, so we can consume the hydrogen in retail quantities. How do we do this? Well, we are going to combine normal silica with the hydrogen, and we are going to create a liquid that is stable at ambient temperature and pressure, and then we are going to transport it to the place where it's needed. Once we have done this transportation, we just need to combine the molecule with water in order to get the hydrogen out of it. Unlike any other hydrogen transportation methods that exist today, we are the only ones to do this in a liquid, stable and safe way, with an air-friendly molecule, without needing any energy to release this hydrogen, and by using the existing infrastructures. Thanks to the Series A we just closed in 2023, we are going to be able to industrialize this process by building pilots of our technology in Europe, and this will allow us to commercialize the solution in 2027. And all this, of course, is thanks to an amazing ecosystem and to an amazing team of 28 talents today that it's growing and growing more every day. If you want to be part of the energy transition together with social transition of reusing what exists already with us, do not hesitate to contact us. Thank you.
Did you know that heavy trucks consume about half of their fuel to just overcome aerodynamic resistance? So if we could improve the shape of the vehicle, we could reduce both fuel consumption and emissions. And the optimal way to do so is by adding a trailer skirt. Trailer skirts block air from entering the underbody of the vehicle and offer up to 5 to 6% reduction in fuel consumption and emissions. The technology truly conquered the North American and Australian market in the last 10 years, where it has reached 70 to 80% market penetration. And the reason that because they offer a return on investment of just 12 months on top of reducing the fuel consumption and emissions by around 6%. Yet, we don't have them in Europe and the rest of the world. Aerodynamics has come up with a solution. We have introduced a trailer skirt that could be installed on any European-style trailer, and we have undergone many trials at this point, most notably by biggest beer manufacturer in the world, AB InBev and EUSP Group. The results of the pilot were astonishing to the client. They saw a fuel and emissions reduction of just about 5% and a return on investment of about 8 months. Both companies are currently scaling the technology onto their fleets. Our mission currently is to accelerate the adoption of the technology in the European market, and we're already working with Sender and Coca-Cola and many more brands. And to accelerate this adoption, we're raising 300,000 in seed financing. We have so far raised 300,000, and we're also looking for potential clients. My name is Almas. I'm a co-founder and CEO of our company. We have a strong international team, and we also have a CTO who was the engineer who developed the most popular trailer skirt in North America. Please reach out to us, and let's make Europe aerodynamic together. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Adi Paz. I'm the founder and CEO of OnTime. I'm going to give you a 2-minute overview about us. So, OnTime is a leading provider of community-driven logistics. We enable people to cooperate with one another, providing delivery services driven by social incentive and not financial gain. Our subscription-based model costs 2% the price of an Uber. We save people on average $3,600 per year, which represent 30% of the annual household average logistics budget. Today, we already have a few thousands of users. 100% of the communities we approach adopted the service with 60% household average penetration rate. Our average monthly quote retention is 50%, putting us at the top 1% of apps and services. All of that reached organically without a single dollar spent on advertising. What's the market potential? 3.4 billion people worldwide has no access to same or next day delivery, including in some of the most developed countries. We enable them for the first time to get the same level of service as those paid services. But we do it in a completely different way. The market potential for such services is $178.5 billion. Uber will never get there. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
My name is Edward. I'm co-founder of ETEU. We're digitizing maritime trade for companies around the world. Nowadays, international trade still heavily relies on paper documentation, with the right of ownership for the cargo still exchanged using documents sent by the courier post such as DHL for over 97% of cross-border shipments. This is a huge issue which costs exporters and importers around the world more than $200 billion in administrative overheads every year. Solutions which currently exist on the market are expensive and require complicated on-premises implementation by all members of the supply chain. Majority of supply chain participants lack both technical expertise and budget to use them. ETU is aiming to solve this issue by providing the solution which is as easy to adopt as a regular web application with an implementation time which takes under 5 minutes but is still as powerful as enterprise solutions available on the market. We have successfully piloted our platform with some of the leading companies in the industry, achieving major operational improvements and significant cost reductions compared to what they currently have in place. Our team members come from the world-leading technology and logistics companies, bringing to the table cutting-edge technology expertise and deep understanding of the industry. We are backed by the senior executives from some of the world-leading logistics companies, as well as world-leading technology investors. We are now raising a seed round of £1 million to convert the pilots that we have into the full-blown contracts and bring our product to the open market. So if you want to be part of the digital revolution in the shipping industry, please contact us.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, welcome to MOBI, the cutting-edge micro-mobility solution that's set to revolutionize urban transportation as we know it. For close to a decade, the team behind MOBI has been diligently crafting micro-mobility solutions, honing our expertise in the field to unparalleled levels. But what have we learned during these years of innovation and dedication? It's become abundantly clear that free-floating bikes and scooters are simply not the answer. Despite attempts to implement virtual parking systems, the reality is that free-floating models often devolve into chaos, cluttering up public spaces and squandering resources that could be better utilized elsewhere. Recognizing this flaw, many cities have turned to dock station setups. However, while dock stations offer a tidier alternative, they come with their own set of challenges. These bulky structures demand significant space and resources, making widespread deployment impractical for all but the largest and wealthiest cities. For smaller urban centers, this traditional approach simply isn't feasible. We pondered long and hard on how to marry the tidiness of dock stations with the practicality and user-friendliness of virtual parking. Introducing Strim. With its sleek and compact design, Strim offers a revolutionary approach to locking and charging micromobility devices. Utilizing our innovative cascade locking system, each Strim docking station can accommodate up to 6 bikes simultaneously, providing a secure and efficient charging solution without the need for cumbersome docks. Whether it's scooters, bikes, or any other form of micromobility, Strim ensures safe storage and charging in even the most space-constrained environments. But that's not all. Introducing Tap and Ride, our user-friendly rental system that puts convenience front and center. No accounts, no apps, just a simple tap of your credit card to unlock your ride. Pause your journey with ease by locking the bike wherever you choose and resume your ride with another quick tap. It's that simple. Gone are the days of chaotic free-floating parking, limited dock capacities, and costly infrastructure installations. Mobi represents a paradigm shift in micromobility, offering a seamless, accessible, and sustainable transportation solution for cities of all sizes. Join us in embracing the future of urban mobility. Join the Mobi revolution. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Marie-Sophie and I'm Chief of Staff at WeWord. Imagine a world where our daily routines are dominated by remote working and home delivery services. Well, this is not just your imagination. This is most people's way of living. And the consequence? Over half of adults in Europe are battling against obesity, costing France alone a staggering 11 billion euros each year. We need to reintroduce daily activity to overcome the health crisis that weighs on the entire economy. Sure, some solution already exists, but they target fitness enthusiasts and they miss the majority of the population. Here's where walking, an incredibly simple yet powerful activity, steps in. It is the most inclusive form of exercise, accessible to everyone, everywhere, at no cost. So enter WeWord, a revolutionary free mobile application that doesn't just encourage walking, it rewards it. With our unique gamified approach, WeWord users have seen a remarkable 24% increase in their average walking time, contributing to an impressive reduction of 600,000 tons of CO2 emission. Joining the rank of 20 million users is effortless and fun. As you walk, you earn coins. These coins can then be converted into amazing gifts, from cash to charitable donations, for example. Our diverse revenue stream, ranging from traditional advertising to custom partnership, ensure the sustainability and the growth of WeWord. Our ambitions knows no bound. We are currently operational in 9 countries, but our mission is to make walking a global phenomenon. And although we are not seeking funds right now, we're gearing up for a significant funding round by the end of the year to spread this vision forward. Thank you so much.
My name is Eric, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Ride. We're pioneering circularity on 2 wheels by offering premium refurbished e-scooters and e-bikes, both for private and shared use. We're doing this because micromobility has a macro problem, and the problem is that by the end of the decade, just the manufacturing of these vehicles globally will emit the same amount of carbon dioxide as the entire country of Switzerland. That's where we come in. We're on a mission to cut in half the industry's CO2 emissions by 2030 and save 19 million megatons of carbon dioxide equivalents by closing the loop on micromobility. And we do this through our fully circular business model. We offer to private users refurbished e-scooters and e-bikes through our DTC model, and we also offer to buy them back from them through multiple partnerships as well as directly through our website. This creates a flywheel effect of supply and demand in the market. On the other hand, we help sharing and rental operators sustainably and cost-effectively decommission their used fleets, refurbish them, and sell them to smaller operators in different markets or in other cities. We also help retailers, manufacturers, and brands in the industry to create standout buyback programs using our proprietary evaluation algorithm, pioneering circularity in the industry, and scaling the amount of inventory available for all our customers. And the reason to do this is now, because by 2030, Europeans will spend 10 billion euros on micromobility. We've already hit critical mass, and over 62% of Europeans are already accustomed to buying refurbished. So the time to attack this market is now. And we'll do it with our proven multifunctional team consisting of our two co-founders, Juan de Paul, who's head of operations, and Sasha Badelt, an experienced business development head. To date, we're already the leading brand in Spain in our niche, having shown consistent B2C quarter-on-quarter revenue growth at a 30% rate. We've proven our unit economics to be profitable and defensible. We've built an always growing extensive supplier network to allow for scalability, and we have over 500,000 in the B2B pipeline for sales this year. Thanks for your time, and we hope that you'll join us on our mission to make micromobility a micropolluter.
50% of all new vehicles in France are incorporated into what we call corporate fleets. But less than 10% of those fleets are driving low-emission vehicles. And that is, as of today, while everyone is talking about green and soft mobility. But today, context is evolving pretty fast, and companies are mandated by laws, investors, and clients to go electric. But going electric is limiting. Autonomy may prevent employees from doing their jobs. It's complex. Companies must identify the right drivers and the best charging solution. And implies to follow a new cost architecture because electric vehicle rents are higher and charging comes at a wide range of prices. This is why we created Nelson. Nelson Mobility is the first software solution designed to plan, deploy, and operate the best possible electrification strategy for large fleets. Our solution and platform provide specific insights about the electro-suitability of any driver in any fleet. We're proud to have co-designed Nelson with several major accounts, such as Circe, Kone, or EDF. In the first half of 2023, we recorded sales of over 100K and are now managing more than 20,000 vehicles. Today, focus is on business and sales. We're targeting fleets in France and Europe and are looking for new corporate partners. To us, exploiting data today guarantees us one thing for tomorrow. Electrification is just the beginning. Smart charging, multimodality, and optimization will enable us to turn Nelson into a new B2B mobility management platform with energy and data at its core.
Hello, everybody. My name is Valerio Chiaronzi. I'm the CEO and founder of Helpy. We are a motor assistance company founded in 2020 around the idea to redesign the industry of the roadside assistance, repair, and maintenance services across Europe. The proposition is for the B2B automotive players, which we consider OEMs, motor insurance company, car rental, leasing player. And the value proposition is built around 4 major pillars. The first one is to improve the customer experience of our customer. The second point is to reduce the overall cost of the services. The third point is to share with our business clients data and information in real time. And the fourth point is to reduce the downtime of the vehicle. We are currently present in Italy, France, and Spain, thanks to the support and trust of our clients, business clients, which are among the top brand of the automotive industry. The Helpy team, founding team, is composed by 4 founders and supported by a team of experienced and talented managers. Currently, we are not fundraising, but we are always open to connect with potential future partners. Thank you.
Hey guys, this is Aaron, and we at Container Grid are accelerating the shift to a circular economy in the metals and chemicals processing spaces with scalable, cost-efficient, end-of-life resource takebacks. But let's start with the problem. 13% of raw materials in production come from recycling. These recycled materials are therefore highly underrated. Despite that, you as an OEM, you as a manufacturer, you're facing huge risks in your supply chain, regulatory circumstances that force you to recycle better, and energy prices that made your primary raw materials prices high. You need to become more resilient, you need to become more sustainable. The key systemic change to unlock the circular economy on industrial scale is solving inefficiencies in waste management recycling. Huge GHG emissions potential in a space making out over 11,000 small to medium businesses only in Germany. At Container Grid, we're building a neutral trade ops and quotation platform, helping impact-driven manufacturers, their dedicated recycling partners, and everyone else involved to recycle more by scaling takebacks, scaling closed-loop systems in certain geographies. How it works, on the left side, waste supplying facilities are pooled in one recycling contract, and this central recycling contract is given to a dedicated recycler who also makes sure that the recycled material is going through the right recycling process and is landing back at the manufacturer, thereby closing the loop on his materials. Our team has built up traction by deep diving with several automotive players, their consultancies, as well as plastics and chemicals production companies. We are strong in corporate and VC PE network. We have 2 serial entrepreneurs involved with Rajesh and Jirnan, having built businesses in the engineering and social spaces, and highly talented technicals. We are supported by the Munich ecosystem with this CLA, hoping to expand our founding team and pilot this take-back platform in the enterprise environment. Thanks, and see you soon.
At Vapaus, we see the bicycle as a pivotal solution to modern challenges, enhancing public health and protecting our planet. Thanks to the over 16,000 people already riding with us, we are proud to be succeeding on our path towards sustainable mobility. Our innovative approach leverages a B2B2C model, offering benefit bicycles akin to a company car, but aligning seamlessly with ESG criteria. We're catering to blue-chip white-collar businesses, tapping into a growing European market where already over 150 million people have access to benefit bike schemes.
Vapaus stands out with our risk-free solution showcasing a flexible return policy. This approach lowers barriers for businesses, and our bespoke software streamlines administration for HR departments. We recognize the dynamic nature of modern work life. That's why our contracts offer flexibility, unlike the typical 36-month term. This adaptability positions Vapaus as the go-to for those seeking a no-strings-attached experience. Our data indicates that benefit bike customers prefer quality, durable electric bikes, often commanding double the sales price of the average consumer bike. To ensure the best fit, we have built a strong sales channel with over 200 local partners who help make the Vapaus experience an expert and personal one. Our model is proven. We efficiently manage bike returns, converting them into assets for release or sale. As of today, 67% of our return bikes have been successfully released or sold.
Financially, we have seen tremendous growth from 200,000 euros in 2020 to over 30 million in 2023, keeping our NPS rating consistently higher than 70. Now nearing break-even, we are embarking on a 10 million euro fundraising round to expand into new markets and enhance our software. Join Vapaus and be part of a movement reshaping urban mobility.
Hello, I'm Julien Dubois here talking about valued and second life automotive parts for professionals, repairers. So we're talking about a market, reconditioned auto parts, that will, explode in the following years, up to 23 billion euros in Europe. So it's time, and that's what exactly we did, to create the first distributor that is 100% dedicated to circular economy auto parts, circular maintenance that is basically showing only benefits, environmental, of course, but also purchase power with lower price products. Quality is there, so providing desirable sobriety, local jobs, sourcing stability. Well, all benefits are there behind circular maintenance. And consumers, drivers, they are basically ready. 7 out of 10 are saying, yeah, I would be okay for used or reconditioned automotive parts on my car. So Values basically has built his model by gathering the offer of remanufacturers, of dismantlers, well, basically all producers of circular economy parts, and providing them through a very simple web app to their professionals. Not only a web app, by the way, but also a service support, conciergerie service that will help and that is already helping a lot of repairers to find the parts that they are looking for. On top of that, we are of course a technology company and we are able to interface our solution with many actors, especially insurance companies, for example. Well, the team is a quite experienced team. Jean-Michel, Caïs, and myself have years of experience in this market. That's probably one of our strengths, of course. Well, let's try values now.
Our mission is to use our innovative technology towards a cleaner planet and a greener future. Maritime transport is a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, and strict climate regulations are forcing industry players to take immediate action. So these maritime players are now actively looking for solutions that work and can actually reduce blue greenhouse gas emissions. One of the most promising group of solutions is weather-ship routing systems, which take into consideration future weather at sea and suggest optimal routes for cargo ships to keep fuel consumption and emissions as low as possible. In practice, however, these systems do not work as well as expected. It is evident that the problem is not with the routing itself, but with the inaccurate marine weather forecast that they use as an input. The root of the problem is that ocean physics is so complex that current numerical forecast models fail to predict the behavior properly, especially for rough seas. We examined this pain point, and in a long route, we are taking a new direction. We leverage the knowledge of physics that is hidden within good quality historical data, and with our smart artificial intelligence models, we produce forecasts of critical oceanographic parameters with much better accuracy than existing products. We are also developing smart APIs for a more efficient and convenient delivery of our data to users. But the best thing is that without data as an input and with no other change, existing weather-ship routing systems can boost their performance and work up to 130% better than today. This breakthrough can be amazingly positive for a cleaner planet and a healthier economy. We expect to reduce cargo ship emissions by up to 50 million tons per year as a long route gains market traction. Our strong, diverse, and gender-balanced team has already proved its value by delivering outstanding results in very little time and with limited resources.
Welcome. I'm going to talk to you about URA thrusters. We provide sustainable propulsion solutions, and I'm going to talk to you about water propulsion, space propulsion, and in-space mobility. URA thrusters is a propulsion provider of water-based technologies, so we provide sustainability from space for space applications, but also on Earth by reducing the environmental impact that the production of propellants have got in the overall footprint of the satellite mission. We have raised more than $22 million so far on public and private contracts and contributions, and we have convinced all of our customers and stakeholders like the European Space Agency to include water propulsion in the main, or the European Commission to include it in all the technology harmonization roadmaps for future applications as one of the main disruptions in space propulsion. The current issue of space propulsion is actually cost and scalability and the geopolitical constraints. So the current, the total cost of the propulsion system and the propellant could be up to 30% of the total satellite mission cost. And we have felt recently the issues around geopolitical constraints with the typical EP propellants that we use, like Xenon or Krypton, due to the Ukrainian war, for instance. So the solution is to use water. Water is the ultimate green propellant, and it is very important that we develop the most attractive technologies for our customers. So water is clearly the most effective, the most cost-effective and scalable technology, and it's the ultimate green propellant. And we do that by creating and developing 5 technologies that will dominate the market. You can see them there. So basically we are covering all the propulsion needs for anything in space related to space mobility. So we can move every single satellite mission that is currently developed, that is being currently developed, and that will be developed over the next 10 years by using our water-based propulsion technologies. We are based in Westcott in the UK, which is our home and is the home of the UK space propulsion, and is the home of one of the largest space propulsion test facilities in the world. and the National Space Propulsion Test Facility. And we thank you very much, and I look forward to getting to know you more.
Hello, I'm Danielle from Clearly, and we enable net zero for fleet operators and suppliers. We do this through three crucial things. One is calculating emissions across the supply chain. Secondly is to identify reduction initiatives in operations and investments. And the third is then to finance those initiatives. This is all achieved through something called trip-level emissions. We gather what is existing siloed data across where the vehicle is moving, what's inside that vehicle from packages to people, and what the vehicle asset type is and the energy backing it. We interrogate that data, bring it together, push it through the global policies and frameworks to get these actionable insights. The visibility part, this is for the fleet owners and operators. This is really the trip-level emissions that's so fundamental and crucial to these fleet operators that they give access to clearly to all of the data across the supply chain, something they do not normally do. Once we've done that, we then utilize that visibility and we enable them to look at the emission hotspots and actually what's driving those emissions across the supply chain. We go further and we allow them then to do a self-serve simulator on reduction initiatives across the asset, the operations and the energy mix, not only showing the project cost but also the cost of carbon saved. This is our go-to-market customer who has access to all the data and is providing that data to Clearly to give them that visibility and the reduction initiatives. We quickly move then to the suppliers and the financiers who have part of the data and need the rest to do that self-serve simulation. We create tangible value in the multi-millions already for our customers. We are covering 25% of the market when it comes to carbon emissions. This is a 1.75 trillion annual spend to decarbonise road transportation. We target 1 billion in revenue by 31 by covering 1% of the commercial and leasing vehicles. An install base of vehicles now of over 55,000, working with 5 blue chip names across retailers and logistic companies, and we've won a number of awards. Thank you.
My name is Anna Wislander. I'm the CEO of Elon Road. We are enabling electrification, generating freedom and flexibility while autonomously charging, driving, or standing still. There's an increased adoption of EVs driven by policies, regulations, customer needs, and economics. We know there are several key challenges. Operators see uptime limited, there's a concern for space and safety, and we're rushing into power grid limitations. Our solution is a high-power ground-based rail, which safely transmits 350 kilowatt with 97% efficiency. The digital solutions offer remote live monitoring as well as fleet management, a load balancing system, and access control. The solution is based on 3 main use cases: charge stations where no human interaction is required, closed loops that significantly increases uptime, an electric road system enabling infinite range while reducing the need for heavy and expensive batteries. We have several completed and ongoing projects for the 3 main focus areas. The market traction is good, and we have a strong commercial focus with high potential. The business model is scalable with a combination of direct sales and recurring software and service revenue. Our team is strong with a lot of experiences and willingness and power to make a real difference. We have been investment lean and are now raising 10 million euro to scale our solution and expand internationally. We already have 50% of soft commitments. Thank you for listening, and let's unplug and charge to the future.